The Girl. Written by Raja. Chapter 1. The First Glimpse. The sun filtered through the lace curtains, casting golden patterns on the wooden floor of a modest suburban home in Ohio. 7-year-old Emma sat cross-legged on the rug, her favorite worn-out teddy bear clutched tightly in her arms. The aroma of freshly baked apple pie wafted from the kitchen, where her mother hummed a tune. It was a typical Sunday afternoon, but for Emma, it marked the first time she truly noticed the world beyond her small, safe corner of it. "Mommy," Emma began, her voice soft and curious, "why do we go to church every Sunday?" Her mother paused mid-stir, a thoughtful smile playing on her lips. "We go to talk to God, sweetheart. To thank Him for everything He's given us and to learn how to be good people." Emma tilted her head, considering the words. "But how do we know God is listening?" Her mother chuckled, wiping her hands on her apron before kneeling beside Emma. "You don't always see Him or hear Him, but you can feel Him in your heart when you're kind, when you forgive, and when you love." The conversation stayed with Emma as she sat in the church pew later that evening. She watched her father bow his head during the prayers, his large, calloused hands folded together. She saw her little brother squirming in their mother's lap, trying his best to stay still. And she noticed the stained glass windows, their colors alive as sunlight poured through them, painting the congregation in hues of red, blue, and gold. It wasn't the sermon or the hymns that caught Emma's attention, it was the sense of unity. The way everyone seemed to breathe in unison, the soft murmurs of "Amen" that rippled through the crowd. For the first time, Emma felt a flicker of something she couldn't quite name, a connection that seemed bigger than herself. Emma's childhood was a tapestry of simple joys and quiet moments of wonder. She grew up in a neighborhood where everyone knew each other's names, where summer evenings were filled with the laughter of children chasing fireflies, and winters meant snowball fights and steaming mugs of cocoa. Her father, a carpenter, often worked long hours, but he always made time to carve small wooden toys for Emma and her brother. One evening, as he worked on a tiny wooden cross, Emma sat beside him, her chin resting on the table. "Daddy, why are you making a cross?" she asked. He glanced at her with a gentle smile. "This is for the church. It's a symbol of God's love for us." Emma frowned, puzzled. "But how can love be a cross?" Her father paused, setting down his tools. "Love isn't always easy, Emma. Sometimes, it means sacrifice, giving up something for the people you care about." The words resonated with Emma, though she didn't fully understand them at the time. As she grew older, she began to see glimpses of what her father meant. One summer, when Emma was 9, a new family moved into the house next door. The Johnsons had a daughter, Lily, who was Emma's age but couldn't walk due to a disability. While other kids avoided Lily, unsure of how to interact with her, Emma's natural curiosity led her to knock on the Johnsons' door one afternoon. "Hi, I'm Emma," she said when Mrs. Johnson opened the door. "Can Lily come out to play?" Mrs. Johnson hesitated, her eyes moist. "Lily doesn't go outside much, dear. But you're welcome to come in." Lily was sitting in a wheelchair by the window, her face lighting up when Emma entered. The two girls quickly became friends, spending hours drawing, reading, and talking about everything under the sun. One day, as they watched the rain patter against the window, Lily asked, "Do you ever wonder why God made me this way?" Emma was silent for a moment, her young mind grappling with the weight of the question. Finally, she said, "I think God made you special so people like me could learn how to be better friends." Lily smiled, a single tear slipping down her cheek. "That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me." As Emma entered her teenage years, life became more complicated. She faced the usual struggles, peer pressure, self-doubt, and the desire to fit in. But her early experiences had instilled in her a sense of introspection. One crisp autumn evening, Emma sat on the porch with her grandmother, who had come to visit for the weekend. They watched the leaves swirl in the wind, their colors vivid against the fading light. "Grandma, do you think God listens to everyone, even when they're not perfect?" Emma asked. Her grandmother took a deep breath, her weathered face thoughtful. "Oh, sweetheart, God listens to us the most when we're not perfect. That's when we need Him the most. Life isn't about being perfect. It's about trying your best and learning from your mistakes." Emma nodded, her heart swelling with a mix of gratitude and understanding. It was a lesson she would carry with her, one that would shape the way she viewed herself and the world around her. By the time Emma reached high school, she had developed a quiet strength that others often mistook for shyness. She wasn't the most popular girl in school, but she had a close-knit group of friends who appreciated her for her thoughtfulness and compassion. One day, During lunch, a boy named Jake made a cruel comment about Emma's friend Sarah, who struggled with her weight. The cafeteria erupted in laughter, but Emma stood up, her voice steady. "That wasn't funny, Jake," she said, her eyes meeting his. "You don't know what Sarah's going through." The room fell silent, and Jake muttered an apology before slinking away. Sarah looked at Emma with tears in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. Emma shrugged, but inside, she felt a quiet pride. Standing up for what was right wasn't always easy, but it felt like the right thing to do, the thing God would want her to do. Reflecting on these moments years later, Emma realized how much they had shaped her. Her understanding of God wasn't confined to the walls of a church or the words of a sermon. It was in the kindness of her father's hands, the wisdom of her grandmother's voice, and the joy she found in friendships. She had learned that faith wasn't about having all the answers. It was about asking the questions and finding God in the smallest, most unexpected moments. As she sat on her porch one evening, the same golden light from her childhood bathing her face, Emma whispered a prayer of gratitude. For the love that surrounded her, for the lessons she had learned, and for the quiet, unwavering presence of God in her life. It was only the beginning of her story, but Emma knew she was ready for whatever came next. Please like the video and subscribe the channel. If you like this story, please comment for next chapter.